What's up guys, welcome back to the video. So on Monday, I said two things about the markets and both of those have happened at exactly the day that I said it was going to happen. Going to break that down in a bit. Secondly, the trade yesterday ended up being a no trade because if you guys follow me on Twitter, you will notice that one of the things that I was looking for was undeniable CISD, and I even marked it out, right? This candle ultimately did not close below that level, and so that was not undeniable. And the reason why this was a no trade is because of exactly what I talked about yesterday about when you're trading on a non-news day, you have to adapt to that type of low probability condition by either looking for more confirmation or by going half risk if you do take the trade. Now, the only thing that I would like you to keep in mind is that there is no news today. Just understand that even if everything checks out, just because we have no news, the kind of like overall probability of the day is going to be a little bit lower. Ideally, if you can avoid trading today, it would even be better. But just so far, take a look. You have Japanese yen, euro, you have Australian dollar, but not USD. But tomorrow, we're going to get USD news. So same concepts applied on the news days is going to have a much higher success rate. So the way this applies to the chart is instead of an early CISD that you can get away with on a news day, you want to at least ensure that you have undeniable CISD if you're trading on a non-news day. And for that reason, even if you just look at the chart on the 5 minute, there was absolutely zero CISD, even though you filled in the fair value gap. Right? After you got into the 1 hourly fair value gap, you're not allowed to just place a limit at the fair value gap and call it a day. It's like once you enter the fair value gap, you still need to wait for the 5 minute CISD to happen before you jump into a short. And so yesterday it was just fully bullish. And so yesterday simply ended up being a no trade. And I hope it was the same for you guys as well. If you guys ended up taking the early CISD and you got burned, well, this is how you can adapt to those conditions the next time. No, that's out of the way. Let's talk about like the intraday move for today. Also, I'm going to give an update on the swing trade on Bitcoin that I called on Monday. Fun fact, earlier on, we had a full-on masterclass within Bootcamp, just teaching someone like how CISD works and the full mechanism of it. If you'd like to learn my full system and go from where you are right now to profitable within the next 90 days, I'm running an insane offer right now where you're going to be able to get basically Bootcamp for like 1/10 of the price. If you're interested, and this offer is not going to last forever, it's going to close in the next 12 days. If you're interested, click the link below, check it out. But otherwise, let's get into the video. So let me just remove everything on the chart and take a look at the weekly chart. Now, early on in the week, I said that Monday and Tuesday were likely going to go down, and that is going to be a false move, where we are going to get some sort of true expansion come Wednesday towards the upside. Why the upside? Because last week's weekly candle closed bullish, which means this week we are going to look for a bullish trade. And when we are looking for a bullish week, any amount of price action that dips underneath the weekly open is going to give you an opportunity to basically buy low and then sell high once you get that true expansion. So far on Wednesday, that is exactly what's happening. Monday, you were going down. Tuesday, halfway through the day, you started going up. And boom, right now we're on Wednesday. And we have had all of the changes into delivery. Right now we're looking fully bullish, which is one thing. The power of 3 has worked out once again. This was the exact same concept that I used to call the top and basically every other top over the last, however many months that I've been making these daily videos. Now, if you guys also remember what I told you guys on Monday, which is that even though we are not looking bullish yet, based on statistical probability, we are currently inside a weekly bullish fair value gap and price does not seem to be breaking below it. So I did mention that if you want to take a swing trade, this would be a good place to do it where the risk to reward would make sense. If you guys remember my videos from like a couple of months ago, or actually like 3 months ago, I was talking about like, okay, if we get into this fair value gap, then we could potentially look for price to hold at this fair value gap and that will be like the new bottom. Now, so far, this is still just an opinion from our side. So until the market actually gives you confirmation, you are not good to go yet. But if you understand what you're doing on a risk management perspective, and if you are diligent with your stop loss, just putting a stop under here, this is actually statistically speaking, not a bad place to get into a swing trade because the risk reward is going to be in your favor. And well, if you catch the bottom here, then the next time like Bitcoin makes a run to like $150,000 or whatever, you're going to be able to take advantage of that. And if you did, congratulations, because you would be up like $5,000 on Bitcoin basically overnight or within the last 2 days. Now, is this going to hold? I don't know, but in terms of the lower time frame, it is looking pretty good. So speaking about the lower time frame, it's time to get into the lower time frame. So starting things off on the daily chart, we currently have a insanely bullish candle close, which means that if today's candle closes above 91,260, this is going to make this into a new bullish order block. What that's going to do is when price returns back into this area and potentially even leave behind this fair value gap right here, then we are going to look for a long at either one of these two levels. But so far, even if we're just talking about today, it's already enough for us to jump into a bullish trade. This is going to be more for tomorrow, where in the event that, for example, today's candle closes bullish, well, the daily open is going to start here, and you're going to look for a retracement down underneath the daily open to fill in some sort of daily PDRA before you get a true expansion towards the upside, and that is going to be based on the daily candle. This, by the way, is known as a power of three. And to those of you that are confused about power of three, hopefully this clears it up. So far we have a bullish daily bias on the 1 hourly chart. It's looking amazing because, well, bang, right? You got a undeniable CISD right there. And so far today, we're just going to be straight up looking for bullish trades. Now, for those of you who are following my Twitter, I've already posted about this like a couple of hours ago. So if you want to just get access to like my live trades, by the way, which I share every entry and I share all of my thoughts on Twitter for free, not behind some signals group, feel free to just follow me there. But otherwise, this is the first order block that we're going to be looking for. Secondly, we have this fair value gap right here. And before you ask me which of these levels are going to be the one that is going to be the bottom, the truth is, I don't know. And it's not my job as a trader to figure this out either. Trading is not about predicting which level is going to be like the bottom. Trading is about marking out the high probability levels. And when price gets into there, you have a clear game plan on what to do to take advantage of the trade. And that is trading. So it's more about a game of reading and reacting rather than predicting. So all of these levels are valid. What's important though is timing, because today is a news day. And if you take a look at the news today, we have news at 10 a.m. So the ideal trading window for today is going to be between 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Why do I say that? Because on news days, the ideal trading window is going to be 1 hour before news to an hour after news. So ideally, the entry will even come between 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. So that's what you're going to want to look for. You're going to want to look for price to enter into either one of these key levels. And in between the hours of 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., you're going to want to look for a 5-minute change in state of delivery to the upside. If that happens, then that is when you will dive fully into the trade. But otherwise, all of these are valid key levels. Okay? And CISD has already happened. So right now, we're just really just waiting for price to get into either one of these levels and go up. Now, one of the other scenarios that might happen, because right now we're already in some sort of bullish order block and we are fast approaching another 1 hourly fair value gap. What may happen is that we could just, start trading towards the upside right now. And depending on what time you watch this video, if you are trading above this level, or actually let me go down into the 5-minute chart to further refine this. So if you are trading above, let's say 93,400, which is going to be a undeniable 5-minute change in state of delivery, then you're simply just going to continue to momentum trade this higher, which means as you get newly formed bullish order blocks and bullish fair value gaps, you're just going to trade this higher. And most importantly, patience is going to be key today. Because there is a news day, that most of the volatility is going to be concentrated within the hour before news to the hour after news. So ideally, you're not jumping into a trade too early during the New York morning today and waiting for the news. But just understand that today is more of an A+ day and the setup is going to be super clean. And now that that's out of the way, let's take a real quick look at Ethereum. Now, Ethereum, you also have the exact same setup on Bitcoin where, well, you're just basically going to draw the chart the same way. On the daily chart, this is where you're going to look for price to retrace into. On the hourly chart, this is going to be the bullish order block that you're going to want to watch for. And in the event that you retrace back into it, it's going to be a high probability level. Besides that, you also have a fair value gap right now. That price is currently inside. So if price just starts pumping from this point onwards, and by the time you watch this video, price is already pumped, feel free to just momentum trade this to the upside. If not, wait for the retracement into here. Same time, like between the hours of 9 to 10 a.m. That is probably when you're going to get the entry. And in terms of the lower time frame, not too much to talk about right now though. The fact that you've swept below all of these relatively equal lows, plus fill in the PDRA may lead me to believe that you may start having something like this happen. If it happens, then yeah, feel free to get into it. And next up, let's move into Solana. Now, Solana is in a bit of a weird spot right now because even though you have a bullish daily bias, you haven't quite hit this level. So comparatively speaking, compared to Ethereum and Bitcoin, you are looking slightly weaker on Solana. Doesn't mean that you cannot trade it though. Now, just going down to the 1 hourly chart, you can see that this change in state of delivery, at least the undeniable change in state of delivery, hasn't quite happened. Now, you have a very solid CISD that happened here already. So you're going to be all good to go long on Solana. Right here, you have a fair value gap, and over there, you have a bullish order block. And again, the setup is going to be exactly the same as Bitcoin, so just trade that accordingly. And by the way, if my videos have helped you make money in any sort of fashion, you're going to make quite literally 10 times more if you are in Blueprint. This offer is going to last only until the 15th of December. After that, you are not going to be able to join. This will be the lowest price that it's ever going to be. And if you value your time in terms that, you want to get results fast and not waste months or years like just trying to figure this out yourself, Blueprint's going to be the solution. If that sounds interesting, click the link below. But otherwise, I'll see you guys on Twitter later. Ciao, ciao.